because I know you spent some time with Roberto Martinez. First question, did you expect that we would see the Verminator back, the star of Vissel Kobe back in the lineup in a game like this?
No, I didn't, and he did ever so well.
He did his job.
In this sort of sweeper role where it's easier for him because everything comes his way and he's got more time and he has more space as well because he's a bit behind everyone. But he did great, and I think Martinez wanted just some leadership. That's what he wanted. I think he felt that maybe...
Well, you're not enough... Sorry. The leadership thing. Okay, I know managers, that's what they say. You have Vertonghen and Alderweireld.
Yeah, you can
and you
never
still
have
need more,
too much. Of course, experience. I think that back three had 300 caps and 105 years old or something like that.
Could it be something simpler that maybe Denayer and Boyata just weren't getting it done for him?
But also because I think they lack experience at that kind of level, and maybe that was the difference. I think technically Denayer is a much better defender than Vermaelen right now, and he has played for the last 2 years at a much higher level than in Japan. No offense to the Japanese league.
Although he never played with Iniesta. I have to ask, though, to alarm me, we'll be talking later about the reality check for Italy. Is there a reality check for Belgium here? Or does it all go into everything was great as long as De Bruyne was on the pitch, De Bruyne goes off, and then everybody struggles. And now, obviously, we don't know if De Bruyne, we probably won't see him again in this tournament. That's a huge blow.
Did you think he was really great when he was on the pitch?
Yeah, well,
He was very minimalist. I just think, and I tweeted it, and some people agreed, others disagreed, this was very France 2018 from Belgium yesterday. One shot on target, one goal. You conceded some chances, more than maybe the French did 3 years ago.
They conceded a lot more after De Bruyne went off, is the point I'm making.
But even when he wasn't there, you could not tell me that they created so much and they were so much better and everything. So I just think that this team has changed since that defeat against the French and are very much more efficient in what they want to do than what they used to before, and they're very happy to give you the ball and concede less chances than what they did against Portugal. But very much I think this is the approach, and it'll be the same against Italy in the quarterfinals.
What makes me uncomfortable is I don't know that this team is good at being minimalist and efficient. I don't know that this is what it's built on. I don't know that it plays to their strengths, even without De Bruyne. Sure, you can do that, and then maybe next game you play Doku or whatever, and you go for pace and you're solid. Maybe stick a Dendonker in there for good times, but it's not what got you there. And it might work against Italy, but then when you start playing better teams, you might lose that war of attrition. I want to stick with the Belgium approach, because you're convinced that this is sort of some fundamental philosophical change from Roberto. I'll say this: if this is what he was trying to do, I don't think this is the game in which you do it. And the reason you don't do it in this game is that if you want to turn it into a war of attrition, Portugal's not there. Portugal became champions last time around by winning all those wars of attrition. With Portugal, you always have the risk of Cristiano popping up in the box with a header or a penalty or a free kick. They have individual match winners. Pepe comes into the box, starts which he did anyway, on multiple occasions. I mean, so you do the war of attrition against a team that's going to come out and run at you and attack you. You do the war of attrition against Italy, and maybe get that, which maybe they will. But why do it against Portugal?
I don't know. I just think, so in the interview we did, he said, we have a DNA which is individual talent, and very much like give the ball to De Bruyne and Hazard and Lukaku, and they will do, you don't have to work something very complicated collectively, let's put it that way. And I was like, okay, great. I said, but would you play again then against France, having 60% of the ball almost, and having maybe being the better team and just being done on one shot that you consider one goal and then you're done? And he said, what I want from the boys is to learn from that game. That game, specifically that game, that France game, what we did that was wrong and what we would not do again. So then when we get into the similar situation, then we do it differently, and this time we go through and we win. And for me, yesterday watching the game, and I don't think, you're right, I don't think the game plan was, let's sit back.
You do that against France, you lose. You do that against France, sorry,
but
maybe you don't definitely lose. Yeah, it would be interesting, but France have more individual match winners.
I don't think they can defend like the French did in 2018.
No, they can't. There's no way they can.
But then yesterday, it was very much the feeling of like, we're happy to give you the ball, we're in the lead, and now we're going to close the shop, and this is it. They half closed the shop because they could easily have considered one or two.
Yeah, easily.
But it felt very much like, that second half was like, there was nothing with the ball from Belgium.
And even the goal, all right, the Torgan Hazard goal, my first instinct when I saw it was to blame Rui Patricio. And the ball does pass really close to him.
It should still be the case because he was asleep.
But you watch the replay,
No.
there's two things. One is he hits the ball really hard.
Yeah.
And it takes a very nasty swerve.
But
I've heard
that's a
goalkeepers,
bad- no.
you know, say it's a goalkeeper's union.
That's-
He takes a step one way, little hop step one way, and then he doesn't get to it the other way. But it was a very central shot.
It was very simple. It's right by him. I know he swerved, but it's right by him as well. And I just think he's always on his line. He's always too deep in his goal, I think. If he had been even half a yard ahead of the line, he would have saved it.
What I thought was fascinating about this was at the end, I mean, I'd say there was maybe the first half of the second half, I thought the game really turned into something else, like not a pleasant game.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.